You know, in a world where every woman is impossibly stacked, Empress Rubia is a breath of fresh air. She has one of my favorite animations in the game, a blend of sexy and cool. But just like her sister, this costume is beginning to show its age. Empress Rubia is a defense shredder with a large cone AoE. When maxed out, she provides a 45% defense down with 6 hits. All of this is very good, and when you look at the numbers, the potential of the skill is actually great. She has the best range of all the defense shredders, and that range is versatile. But there's two problems. First is, unless you're high enough in the towers where they start to throw some conditions at you, defense shredding isn't needed in normal battles, and it's barely viable in elite battles. That really only leaves boss battles, and in these cases, the large AoE matters less. This makes units like Cry and Elise more competitive against her, if not outright preferred. Elise is especially underrated across the community as she's barely talked about, but when maxed out, Elise's skill set is actually pretty godlike. She just suffers from the same problem as Rubia, where her unique skill set isn't necessary for a large portion of the game. Fortunately for Rubia, she has something Elise doesn't, and that's chain stacking. This combined with her defense shred makes her more viable for normal battles, Fiend Hunt, and guild raids. This leads to our second problem, which is the cone AoE. I know I just got done saying it's versatile, but there is a reason why she is the only one who has this. This skill just whiffs everything standing horizontally to your main target, which can be extremely detrimental to the modes I just mentioned. In that case, you're much better off just using Celia, who has a 3x3 range pattern and is a better chain stacker anyway. And not only that, but she's a pure specialist at the role. By the way, if you're enjoying the video, be sure to boot the like button. And if you want to support the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you. Okay, Rubia has competition, but that doesn't make her bad, right? It's important to note that having a skill that heavily increases the chain stack while also shredding defense is something no one else can do. But then we get to the third issue, which is Rubia's other costumes. Base Rubia is a straightforward attack that inflicts some damage over time, while Maid Rubia increases her attack by 50% while allowing her to dodge 2 attacks. What seems to be the idea here is to make Rubia as versatile as Sylvia when they acquire all their costumes. But while Sylvia's costumes all synergize so well that she becomes one of the best units in the game, Rubia's costumes do not gel as well. Maid Rubia increases her attack, sure, but it's only by 50%. Empress Rubia doesn't have the multiplier to really make great use of it. And while base Rubia's dot would greatly appreciate a damage increase, the actual attack is a bit of a wet noodle. Furthermore, in the cases where you want to use Empress Rubia, you usually want to start with that, making her have less of a rotation and act more like a Swiss Army knife. Now, I just want to say this is not a bad thing. Being versatile is usually very good, but when you're up against specialists, that's why I had to highlight them, because it doesn't make her look as good. This leads me to put Empress Rubia at a score of 5 out of 10. Much like Sylvia, Rubia is kind of due for another costume, but it's more dire for her because she needs something that gives her a solid role. That said, Rubia's chain stacking is still one of the highest, which will make her great in Fiend Hunt and guild raids, especially when you opt for physical parties. There's also PvP, where she could be a menace in defense, so that's something to consider. Also, while I don't rate based on future banners, I do have to recommend skipping since we're so close to the Simran Kagura collab. That skill animation's so good though.